Hello and welcome to day 2 of graphing absolute values. So yesterday when we were doing this, every time we noticed that there was a y and an x, and we have an absolute value sign in here. And with the absolute value, the parent function was y equals the absolute value of x. So when we graph that, the vertex is right here at 0, 0. And we look in front of x, and we don't have a number here, so remember, mathematicians, efficient, there's a 1. So we go up 1 over 1. There's no number after x outside, so I'm looking here, there's no number there. That's why my vertex is at 0, 0, and we have this graph with the vertex being at 0. Now, if anything shifts from this, so when I look at this second one here, that's in red with the absolute value, we now have a number outside this -5. And we found out yesterday that that -5 made this graph go down 5 units. We say this is a vertical shift in the vertex. So vertical shift in vertex, because this vertex is no longer going to be here at 0, 0. It's going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the vertex is going to be here. Now I look at the same thing. There's no number in front of x. Remember, that means it's a 1 and it's positive. So that means that this graph is going to be open 1. So it is the same width as this parent function. It's just that the vertical shift was down for that vertex. Now if we look at the bottom one, we have an absolute value and we have a shift here of +4. So this, because it's positive, it's going to go up 4. So we're going to go from the vertex from 0, 0. It's going to have a vertical shift of 1, 2, 3, 4. So this vertex is going to be here at 4. And now we look over here in x. Do you see this sign right here, that negative? That's not just a negative, it's a -1. So it means it's going to go down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. So it opens the same width as the other two. So it's still the same width, but this thing is opening down instead of up. So it has nothing to do with this number on the outside. That's talking about the vertex. And if the vertex is going to shift from 0, 0. And in this one, it's going to shift up 4. But because of this negative in front, the vertex is going to open down. All right, we're going to take that information into this next problem here. And now when you look, we have our absolute value. If I just look in front because I'm looking ahead, it's still a 1. So it's going to be that same exact width of up 1 and over 1, but what does this +2 do? Everything yesterday, these numbers were outside of that absolute value, and it went exactly like we thought, down 5 or up, down or up, depending on the side. So if we had to guess, if this thing is on the inside now, I'm going to guess that that thing's either going to go left or right. Because if yesterday it was on the outside and went up or down, it makes sense today that it's going to go right or left. So what we're going to do is plug in some points here and see what happens. So the first one is y equals, and they want us to plug in a -2. So -2 plus 2 makes this be y equals 0. So we have this ordered pair -2, 0. So if I go -2, 0. All right, let's try the next one, and let's put in -1. So the absolute value of -1 plus 2. So -1 plus 2 is a +1, and the absolute value of 1 is 1. So we have this ordered pair of -1, 1, -1, 1. All right, next problem, we're plugging in a 0. Well, if we plug in 0, 0 plus 2 is 2. So we have the ordered pair 0, 2. So we're not going to go left or right. We're just going to go up 2. All right, now we're going to plug in a 1. So we have 1 plus 2. Well, the absolute value of 1 plus 2 is 3, and the absolute value of 3 is 3. So I have that ordered pair, 1, 3. So if I go over 1 and up 3, that just keeps going up and up and up and up. So if I put a 2 in here, 2 plus 2 is 4, so I get 2, 4. Well, wait a minute now. This is supposed to be a V because I have these absolute values, but if I keep going this way, it's just going to keep going up and up and up and up. So I'm going to try a different number that's not in this chart, and I'm going to try this next number, which would be a negative 3. So if I put in negative 3 plus 2, what is negative 3 plus 2? Is a negative 1, and the absolute value of negative 1 is 1. So I have this ordered pair, negative 3, 1. So negative 3, 1. Aha, there's my V. So let me try one more. Let me try a negative 4. So if I put in a negative 4, is that going to be this point right here? That's what I'm checking to see. So let me just erase some of this so we don't have quite so much going on over here. And this time I am going to plug in a negative 4. So negative 4 plus 2. What's the absolute value of negative 4 plus 2? So I get a negative 2. And what's the absolute value of negative 2 is a positive 2. So I have negative 4 plus 2. Yep, that's exactly what we guessed was going to happen. And now I have my V. So let's assess and see what happens to see if we can figure out any patterns that are happening here. So on the inside, this was a plus 2. And what happened to the vertex? It did not stay at 0, 0. What did it do? It went left 2 units. Left 2 units. We call that a horizontal shift. When it goes right and left, it's a horizontal shift. Okay, so the horizontal shift is when this number is inside the absolute value, and it's a plus 2, but it went the opposite way. It went left 2. Which kind of makes sense because these absolute value makes some weird things happen. So now something weird happened. It went to the left. Now let's see. It went up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, which makes sense because what we were talking about before, we look at this number in front and there isn't one there. So mathematicians assume that to be a 1 and it's positive. So it's opening up and it's up 1 over 1. So that's exactly what we were talking about yesterday. All right, let's try another one. So if that last one had a plus 2 in the middle and it went left, and now this one says negative 2, which way are we going to guess that it's going to go? Okay, there's no number out here. Numbers out here make it go up or down. It affects the vertical change. Okay, that was yesterday. Today, we have this number on the inside, and if the plus 2 made it go left, what do we think we happen with the negative 2? I'm guessing that it's going to go right. So let's see if that's true. Okay, let's put a negative 2 in here. So if we have the absolute value of negative 2 minus 2, negative 2 minus 2 is going to be a negative 4, and the absolute value of a negative 4 is 4. So I have the ordered pair, negative 2, comma, 4. Negative 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, next number. Let's put in a negative 1. So negative 1, whoops, I didn't change colors. Negative 1 minus 2 is a negative 3, and the absolute value of negative 3 is 3. So it looks like we have negative 1, 3. Negative 1, 3. Okay, let's put in a 0. So now when we plug in a 0, we've got 0 minus 2, which is a negative 2, and the absolute value of negative 2 is 2. So we're at the ordered pair, 0, 2. Next one, we're putting in a 1. 1 minus 2. 1 minus 2 is a negative 1, and the absolute value of negative 1 is 1. So I have 1, 1, 1, 1. All right, and the last one we have here is plugging in a 2. 2 minus 2 is 0, and the absolute value of 0 is 0, 2, 0. Okay, wait a minute here. So now what happens here? I have my absolute value, so I know I have to have a v. So where is my v? Okay, I'm going to just keep going. I'm plugging in the next number, 3. So 3 minus 2 is 1, and the absolute value of 1 is 1. So I have the ordered pair 3, comma, 1. 1, 2, 3, comma, oh, there we go. There's my v. Okay, let me try one more. So let me put in a 4 just to make sure that we're doing this right. So 4 minus 2 is 2, and the absolute value of 2 is 2. So I put in a 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, up 2. Yep, there we go. There's my v. So what happened here? It was a negative, and it had a horizontal change. So this was a horizontal change of going to the right 2 units. Now we look in front, and the number in front is a 1, and it's positive, so that's why this v is opening up, and we go up 1 over 1. Okay, kind of doing exactly what we said. All right, let's try and see if we can do this one without making that chart. So remember, when we're talking about inside the absolute value, inside absolute value, if it's positive, the vertex goes left. Vertex goes left. Okay, so what do we have? That's a negative 4, so it's not positive, it's negative. So a negative vertex goes right. This is a horizontal change, and the vertex is going right. So I'm going to go right 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's my vertex right here at 4. Now I look here, no number is there, so I know it's a 1. It's positive, so it's going up. So I'm going to go up 1, right 1. Make sure you go on both sides, and there's what your V would look like. Okay, it's still the same width as everything else, and this is called a horizontal shift. All right, let's see if we can do another one. Remember, there's a pattern. So when it's inside and negative, it goes the opposite of what we think. So this thing is going right. All right, so we've got our absolute value. This number's on the inside. So it's on the inside. Remember what we just said. Inside, if it's positive, goes left. If it's negative, goes right. So you probably want to keep that written on a sheet of paper in front of you and just use it every time you get to that. So it's inside and it's positive. So this is going to go left 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's look here. We have the number 1. So I'm going to go up 1 over 1. I don't really have a lot of room over there in my graph, but it would be a V going this way. Why is it up? Because that number's positive. All right, I think this is the last problem I have here. So we have our absolute value with this plus 2. So if that is a plus 2, this is going to make the vertex go left. It has a horizontal shift. Horizontal shift, and it's going to go left 2. All right, let's look at this number. Okay, oh, they have that negative sign. So this means we have a negative 1. What does that mean? That means the V does not open up. The V opens down. Because we have that number, that negative 1, it's going to open down. Not the vertex, it's just going to open down. And because it's a 1, it's down 1, right 1. So make sure you go in both directions. And so here is our V. So today you're working on a horizontal shift, so it's going to go left or right. If this is a positive number, okay, positive number goes left. If it is a negative number, vertex, so we're talking about the vertex here, the vertex goes right. Okay, and now the same as yesterday. To know whether it opens up or down, you look at this number in front. If that number in front is positive, it opens up. If that number is negative, it opens down, like this one here. All right, good luck on your homework.